Hare Krishna, devotees. Today we continue Srimad Bhagavatam, canto second, chapter first. The first step in God realization. Shloka number 29 to 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tata Jayam Udiret Nashta Praeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. श्लोक नंबर 29 to 31. इंद्र आदयः बहवः आहु उष्ट्राः
इन्द्रादयः बहवः आहूवस्त्रः
कर्णौ दिशः श्रोत्रम् अमुष्य शब्दः
कर्णौ दिशः श्रोत्रम् अमुष्य शब्दः
नासति अदश्रौ परमस्य नासम्
नास्ति अद्रसौ परमस्य नासं
घ्राणस्य गन्धः मुखम् अग्निरिद्धः
घ्राणस्य गन्धः मुखमग्निरिद्धः
द्यौ अक्षिणी चक्षुः अभूत पतंगः
द्यौ अक्षिणी चक्षु अभूत पतंगः
पक्ष्यामि विष्णोः अणि उभे च
पक्ष्माणि विष्णोः अनि उभे च
तद्भ्रुविजृम्भ परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम्
तद्भ्रुविजृम्भ परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम्
आपः अस्य तालुरस एव जिह्वा
अपस्य तालुरस एव जिह्वा
छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः गृह्णन्ति
छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः गृह्णन्ति
दंष्ट्रायम स्नेह कला द्विजानि
दंष्ट्रायमः स्नेह कला द्विजानि
हासः अजन उन्मादकरी च माया
हास जनान उन्मदकरी च माया
दुरंत सर्ग यत् अपांग मोक्ष
दुरंत सर्ग यत पांग मोक्ष
इंद्र आदयः भाव आहु उष्ट्राः
इंद्रादय भावाहुअस्त्रः
कर्णौ दिशः श्रोत्रम् अमुक्ष्य शब्दः
कर्णौ दिशः श्रोत्रममुष्य शब्दः
न असति अदस्रौ परमस्य नासे
नास्ति आदसौ अस्त्रौ परमस्य नासे
घ्राण अस्य गन्धमुख अग्नि इदः
घ्राणस्य गन्धो मुखमग्निर्दः
द्यौ अक्षिणी चतु अभूत पतंगः
द्यौ अक्षिणी चक्षु अभूत पतंगः
पक्ष्यामि विष्णो अणि उभे च
पक्ष्माणि विष्णोनि उभे च
तद्भ्रू विजृम्भ परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम्
तद्भ्रुविजृम्भ्य परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम्
आपः अस्य तालुरस एव जिह्वा
आपस्य तालुरस एव जिह्वा
छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः उगृह्णन्ति
छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः गृह्णन्ति
द्रष्टायम स्नेह कला द्विजानि
दंष्ट्रायमः स्नेह कला द्विजानि
हासः जन उन्मादकरी च माया
हास जन उन्मादकरी च माया
दुरंत सर्ग यत् अपांग मोक्ष
दुरंत सर्ग यतपांग मोक्षः
इंद्र आदयः भाव आहु उष्ट्राः कर्णौ दिशः श्रोत्रम् अमुष्य शब्दः नासत्य दश्रौ परमस्य नासे घ्राण अस्य गंध मुखम अग्नि इदः द्यौ अक्षिणी चक्षुः अभूत पतंगः पक्ष्यामि विष्णो अणि उभे च तद्भ्रू विजृम्भ परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम् अस्य तालुरस एव जिह्वा छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः गृह्णन्ति दंष्ट्रायम स्नेह कला द्विजानि आस जन उन्मादकरी च माया दुरंत सर्ग यत् अपांग मोक्ष
इंद्रादय बाहुअस्त्रः कर्णदिष्ट श्रोत्रममुष्य शब्द नास्ति यदस्त्रौ परमस्य नासे घ्राणः अस्य गन्ध मुखमग्निद द्यो अक्षिणी चक्षुः भूतपतङ्गः पक्ष्माणि विष्णोः उभे च तद्भ्रुवि विजृम्भ्य परमेष्टिधिष्ण्यम् आपस्थितालुरस एव जिह्वा छन्दांसि अनन्तस्य शिरः गृह्णन्ति दर्ष्टा यमः स्नेहकला द्विजानि हासजनोन्मादकरी च माया दुरन्त सर्ग यतपाङ्गमोक्ष.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. His arms are the demigods headed by Indra. The 10 directional sides are his ears, and physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the two Aśvinī-kumāras, and material fragrance is his sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. The sphere of outer space constitutes his eyepits, and the eyeball is the sun as the power of seeing. His eyelids are both the day and night, and in the movements of his eyebrows, Brahmā and similar supreme personalities reside. His palate is the director of water. Varuṇa and the juice or essence of everything is his tongue. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth, and the most alluring illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Perfect. The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead made in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 10.30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you during all people in your blazing mouth and covering all the universe by your immeasurable rays, scorching the words you are manifest. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for the students of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the science of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent. The conception of the Virat Purush or the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord is said to include all the dominating demigods as well as the dominated living being. Even the minute part of a living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gigantic form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gigantic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form, as Lord Sri Krishna also appeases the demigod and all the other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of a tree distributes energy to all of trees' other parts. Consequently, for a materialist also, worship of universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. One need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of different desires. The real entity is the Lord Himself, and all others are imaginary, for everything is included in Him only. To common sense, the description in this verse appears to be somewhat contradictory because sometimes the sun has been described as the eyeball and sometimes as the outer space sphere. But there is no room for common sense in the injunctions of the Shastras. We must accept the description of the Shastras and concentrate more on the form of the Virat Rup than on common sense. Common sense is always imperfect, whereas the description in the Shastras is always perfect and complete. If there is any incongruity, it is due to our imperfection and not the Shastras. That is the method of approaching Vedic wisdom. According to Vedic assertion, this material creation is the result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy, which is described herein as the most alluring illusory energy. The conditioned souls who are allured by such materialism should know that the material temporary creation is simply an imitation of the reality, and that those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under the direction of the controller of sinners called Yamaraj. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp this truth about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya चक्षु उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितान् च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे पांचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा। Today we try to understand and continue Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 chapter 1st, the first step in God realization, shloka number 29 to 31. Here they describing about the Virat Purush, comparing to the every limb of our of the God's body, and they told about the important how we surrender and why we surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. Prabhuji will tell us in detail nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So very wonderful description is being made by Shukdev Goswami ji. As mentioned by him, he has been recommending Parikshit Maharaj that first you should start about Shrotavyam, and then he says that also meditate. So whom to meditate? Then he says maybe you should start with meditating on Virat Roop of Krishna. Why Virat Roop? Because that is a stepping stone. It's easy to visualize Krishna in a Virat Roop that, oh, he is so big, so great, so. He is ultimate, he is supreme. And we can easily manage even if you are a neophyte. And then he is explaining from where it should start. So he says that it should start with the feet. Because that is what the ultimate objective of our life is, to gain shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So yesterday we saw the description right from feet to the head, where head is the Satyaloka. And now Sukdev Goswami ji is explaining the various other bodily parts and how we can correlate them to the various other objects that we know of. The most important are the arms. Because finally all the work has to be done with the arms. So even this material universe that has to be maintained, there have to be directors for different activities which are to be done. And that is why he starts by saying that the arms are the demigods headed by Indra. And the 10 directional sides are the ears. Physical sound is the sense of hearing. Nostrils are the Aśvinī-kumāras. Fragrance is his sense of smell. And mouth is the blazing fire. Then there's the sphere of outer space, which constitutes the eyepits. The eyeball is the sun, has the power of seeing. The eyelids are both the day, the night, and the movements of the eyebrows. Brahmā, supreme other personalities. The palate is the director of water, Varuṇa, and the juice or essence of everything is the tongue. The Vedas, they always recommend speaking about the Vedic hymns. Sri Shukdev Goswami ji moves then to the Vedic hymns and says that actually they are the cerebral passage of the Lord. The jaws of teeth are Yama, the god of death, who is definitely going to punish the sinners. The affection is the set of teeth, and the illusory energy is the smile. So, this great ocean of material creation is just the casting of his glance over us. So, basically, if we see these three shlokas are making us understand, along with the purpose what Prabhupada ji is giving, around 10 different aspects. First is the gradation of sense perception in elements. So, if you see, there's a progression of material elements from subtle to gross. And the moment it is moving towards gross, there's an increase in sensory capacity. So, Akash or sky, only sound, Shabda. Air. So, it has got now Shabda plus Sparsha, sound plus touch. Vayu. And then the moment there is Agni, fire, it's also got the form, Rupa. So, sound, touch, and form. And Apa, water, it's also got the taste, the rasa. Besides the earlier sound, touch, and form. And then you get earth, the Prithvi, which contains all for you sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, Gandha. This is earth, which exhibits the variegatedness of the material existence, making it the most complex, but also the most suitable for human and plant life. And it is here that we are finding the presence of air and oxygen in the human body. And that is where, in the purports, we understand, and the lectures given by Prabhupada ji, we understand the importance of this aspect. Because air imbalance in the body, it causes both physical and mental diseases. In one of the lectures, Prabhupada ji mentions that the yogic practices help regulate the prana. Prana is the life air, which ensures that there is proper oxygen circulation, which ensures there is prevention of strokes, constipation, digestive issues, and which also ensures that there is increased longevity and even sometimes control over the time of death. And that is why you will see the yogis, they always maintain perfect health through pranayama. Overeating, poor diet, intestinal imbalances are the primary cause of diseases and the arrival of patients to doctors like us today. But then even these yogic practices, they don't make us succeed in the ultimate objective of our life. Because you can control material aspects to a certain level, but you are not able to do a transcendental transition. And that is where the third point comes of superiority of Bhakti Yoga over all the other yogas, which Prabhupada ji is explaining very clearly. So Bhakti, it surpasses all the yogic paths because it focuses not on self-realization alone, but service to Supreme. We saw it in the 10th shloka of this first chapter itself, wherein Shukdev Goswami ji says that very Srimad Bhagavatam I shall recite before you because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord. One who gives full attention and respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. So Shravanam and Kirtanam, they are the foundations of Bhakti Yoga. And Bhagavatam is received through Avroha Pantha, descending process, not mental speculation. Krishna has explained this to us in Bhagavad Gita also, 10th chapter, 10th verse, where he says that those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And the knowledge, especially the perfect knowledge, is received through Guru's mercy and sincere service, not logic. We know the example of Dhruva Maharaj, his determination and devotion. It demonstrates the potency of bhakti even in childhood. Prahlad Maharaj, similarly. So bhakti transcends everything. But then, as we saw, the importance lies of the fourth point, which is spiritual master and disciplic succession. The process of bhakti is not magical. Prabhupada always used to chide and give examples of Ram Krishna and Vivekananda, whose ideas suggested that it was magical, but no. It's only a genuine guru who can teach using Shastras and expect service and submission from the disciple. So here we have the expert guru Shukdev Goswami and most expert disciple Parikshit Maharaj, which forms a perfect example. And that is why this recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam is the most amala, purest. And that is why it actually guides us on the right path even today. While discussing all these aspects in one of the lectures, Prabhupada also talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Mahapurush, because he is the most merciful incarnation of Krishna. Dheyam sada paribhavagninam avishtadoham tirthaspadam shiva virancinunam sharanyam pratyarthiham pranatapala bhavabdipotam vande mahapurushate charanaravindam. And then it is further mentioned, Tektva sudustyajat surepsita rajya lakshmi dharmishta archa vachasa yad agad aranyam maya mrigam daita ipasitam anvadhyavad vande mahapurushata charanarvindam. These prayers, they glorify Mahaprabhu's renunciation, compassion, devotion. He gave up everything to deliver the fallen souls through Sankirtana movement. And that is a Maya Mrigam. Because the conditioned souls are always seeking material pleasures, which is just Mriga. Just like in Oasis. We feel that it is there in a desert, but actually it is not there. It is all illusion. Similarly, the whole material creation is illusion. But because we don't understand it immediately, to make us understand, that is why we need to come across a guru who will guide us. And what is the universal solution? That becomes our sixth point. A solution which is explained by Shukdev Goswami ji already in the 11th verse, where he says, O king, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all. So whether someone is desiring material benefits, where someone wants to get free from material desires, where someone just wants to be a jnani, self-satisfied, or someone really wants to transcend to the out to the spiritual world, all of the benefits that you mentioned, they come from Nam Sankirtan. Because the real purpose of civilization itself is purification of the senses, and this is where the Nam Sankirtana comes. So the seventh point which is discussed generally is how purpose is to purify the senses. Vaikarika, the neutral creation, Teja, passion, Tamaha, ignorance. So material civilization is currently driven by Tama, darkness. Factory-based production, creating unnecessary goods, increasing greed and ignorance. And so the senses are misused. But then senses are also the practical sides of life. So civilization should aim to purify the senses, not aggravate them. The basic needs are only food, shelter, and defense. Everything else is artificial. So the senses have to be utilized properly. And that is why Prabhupada ji points to the eighth point, which is Rishikesh, the master of sense. Rishak means senses and Isha means master. So the devotees aim to satisfy the Lord's senses, not their own. Arjuna fought not to enjoy, but to please Krishna. Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya, from darkness to light. That is what has to be done. And that is where the jnanis fail, because they deny Lord's senses. Yogis fail because they suppress their own senses. Only bhaktas succeed because they engage both in Lord's service. So we have to be careful about the misguided paths vis-a-vis bhakti. The Jnanis, impersonalists, they deny Lord's senses. Yogis focus on stopping right. Bhaktas purify in Krishna's sense. So without Shastra Chakshu, the scriptural vision will not be able to see what is truth. A deity would be seen only as a statue. While Prabhupada brilliantly analyzes that bhakti uses senses to serve the senses of the Lord. That is where Prabhupada has a big vision on society and communism. Varnashram is meant for Haritoshanam, satisfying Hari. अतः पुंभि द्विज श्रेष्ठ वर्णाश्रम विभाग सह स्वानुतिष्ठस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर हरितोषणम. We saw this as a 13th shloka in the second chapter of first canto. What we see today currently, dictatorship, where one is owning everything. Capitalism, where some individuals, greedy individuals are the owners. Socialism, where state is the owner. Communism, where everyone owns. But everything is impractical unless spiritualized. Prabhupada mentions that unless people are spiritually executed, greed will not go away. So change without spiritual upliftment cannot solve anything. That is why this is an age of emergence. Kali Yuga, and the solution is Krishna consciousness. No nation is going in the right direction. Modern education is making everyone selfish, sense gratification based. Everything is upside down. So it is an emergency to spread Krishna consciousness before society collapses under sense intelligence. So the core point across the Shri Shlokas, if we see, is that we engage our purified senses in service of the Supreme Lord, the Rishikesh, for real liberation. And that actually is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and also the mission of Srila Prabhupada. All other paths, they are incomplete, Jnana, Yoga, Karma, unless they culminate in Bhakti. And true transformation begins with hearing, association with devotees, and serving the Lord's senses sincerely. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.